Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to change the page layout, that is the page orientation of our sheet, and how to work with tables. Let's get started. To see the effect of the page layout change, let's click on the zoom. Let's reduce the zoom, or let's zoom out to see the full size of our paper. Now we click on page layout, and in the page layout group, we have the page setup group here. You can use this to adjust the page margin, use this to adjust the orientation, the size. You can use this to insert columns, insert breaks, watermark, page color, page border, and so forth. So let's select the orientation. The default orientation is portrait. So let's change the orientation to landscape, and it will change the paper orientation to a landscape. So we can now zoom in again and get back our size that we want to work in. Okay, so let's assume we want to design a timetable for our school. To design a timetable, we click in here and type the name of the school. So let's type the name of the school. So we type the name of the school, and then we can do some text editing by highlighting it, going to the home tab, changing the font size, and also centering the font. So we have successfully centered the font. We can also insert and change the font color by selecting the font color on there. And we can also bold the font. To bold the font, we click on the bold icon here. This will deepen the font. And we can also change the font style by selecting the preferred font style that we want. Very good. Now let's press the enter key and then change the font size back to 12. Change the font size to 12. The font to the caliber, and then we change the alignment from center to left and right. Let us now insert a table. To insert a table, we click on insert and select table. We are going to use these options here to insert the table. See the option over here, it's like a matrix. When you scroll your cursor over it, it will draw the table. But if you want to insert specific rows and columns, we click on insert table. In the insert table, we can type the number of columns and the number of rows that we want. For example, we want to insert 10 columns and then 5 rows. Then when we type in these figures, we click OK. So we have inserted 10 columns and then 5 rows. So let's start typing. Designing the timetable, we need to type in here the day or time. Notice that the font color has picked the previous font color, but we can change that later. So let's type in here Monday followed by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You will notice that we need another row in order to type Friday. We can insert a new row by highlighting the last row. To highlight the last row, click and drag in all the rows below. And then you right click in it. You go to insert and select below row. So we select insert row below. A new row will be created below. Then we can type on Friday. Then let's type the time. Let's assume we start from 7 o'clock to 9 to 8 o'clock. So let's type the time. Okay, so we can continue typing the time and so forth. So let me just copy, copy, and then paste. We use Ctrl C for copy and then Ctrl V for paste. And let me just update the time here. So we can just copy and paste, and then we can just make small changes. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Very good. Now let's change the font. To change the font, we can click and drag in all the table to select everything needed. Go to the Home tab, select Font, and then pick the font we want for our table. So let's scroll through and look for Time New Roman. So we are looking for Time New Roman. So we are going to select Time New Roman font. Going to Time New Roman font. And then let's change the font color to black. So we remove the bold, and then we change the font color to black. Very good. Now this is the timetable we have created. To delete any part of the table that we don't want, we click and drag to select them. Then we press the backspace key on the keyboard. This will delete the portion of the table that we don't want. To also increase the size of the table, we bring the cursor to the edge of this, and to change to a double-headed arrow, we can now click and drag to increase the size of our table. So that is how we increase the size of the table. So let's assume we are designing a timetable and we have the days and the time here. Let's type some subjects. Let's say for instance the first period we have English on Monday followed by science, and then let's assume on Tuesday the first two periods is for mathematics. So we have to combine these two cells. To combine the two cells, we click and drag to highlight them. Then we right click and select merge and center. This will combine them to become one cell. Then if we don't want to merge, you right click again and select split cell. This will split cell. So we are going to select how many parts to split it. We are splitting it into two columns in one row. So we click OK. So we can merge a cell by dragging and right clicking and selecting merge to combine them. Let's type in here mathematics. So this is how we enter the various subjects into the timetable. And from this period going, we want to write here throughout these cells break. To do that, we have to merge these cells as one. So we click and drag on them to select them. We right click and then we merge. Then let's type in here first break. Since we have typed in here first break and it applies for all the days, we have to change the alignment of this first break. To do that, we right click in the text and then we look for text direction. Click on text direction. This will help us to change the direction of our text. So let's change the direction by selecting any of these. So let's select this one here to make the text from bottom to the top. Or we can select this one here to make the text from top to the bottom. And we click apply. So let's select bottom to top and click apply. So that is how the first page has changed. Now we can increase the font size by clicking and dragging, going to the home tab and increasing the size of the font. That is the first page. So these are the skills that you need to design a very comprehensive timetable. You can also adjust the size of your font by increasing the font size. You can also change the font color. You can also adjust the size of the table by clicking and dragging on the lines. So let's adjust the size of this cell. We send the cursor to the line. We click, hold it, and then we drag to reduce the size. So that is how we reduce the size of the cells. Click on the line and drag it. You can also expand it. Now let's learn how to shade the cells. To shade the cell, click in the cell that you want to shade. Go to the home tab. In the paragraph group, select shade this paint bucket over here. Click on the arrow and select the color you want for the shading. So we can use this technique to shade the cells in different color formats. Okay, so we can also change the line style of our table. We do this by selecting the whole table. To select the whole table, send the cursor to the edge of the table and click on this move sign. When you click on it, the whole table is selected. Go to the home tab. On the paragraph group, look for borders. You can click the borders, the arrow here, to get a lot of options. These options here help us to show or hide some borders. For example, when I click on no borders, all the borders of the table will disappear. If I want them to display, I click on all borders. So all the borders of the table will appear again. So we use this to change the borders that we want to display. And also we can scroll down and go to borders and shading option. When I click on borders and shading option, we can change the design of the outline of our table. So we can select a line for our table. So let's select this double line, for example, and then click OK. It will change the border line of our table. We can also change the borderline color by going to borders and shading, and then in the color option, select the color you want to use for your table, and then click OK. This will change the color of the border. So we have successfully changed the border style, color of the border. We can also draw tables. So we can select the table, click in there, and then we have two main designs. We have the design here, design tab, and then the layout tab. The design tab can help us choose from pre-designed table formats. So we can select from the pre-designed table format and to apply to our table. Or we can go back to our new table by going to the normal table grid. So these designs help us to choose different designs for our table. And we can also draw tables. For example, if I want to divide this column into two, I will select draw table to give me a pencil. Then I will click and drag down, and this will help me draw a line that will divide the table into two. The line shape and option, I can change it before drawing. So I can also change the line to the normal line, and then I can also draw to divide this cell. So that's how we draw table. You can also erase drawn lines by clicking the eraser and then clicking on the line. This way I have erased the line that I have drawn. So thank you for listening to this tutorial, and I hope you can now edit tables very well. See you in the next tutorial.